Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 32 of To Put It Bluntly. I am Cameron, and as you can see, my beard, my winter fur is coming back already. I am currently joined, as always, by the high contrast king, Wobbles. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm very good. It's Friday afternoon. My wonderful boss, don't want to make his head too big, gave me the afternoon off, so we've managed to schedule the recording, and then I'm going to jump in and play some FC because it is launch day. But how have you been? More importantly,
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Been playing a lot more this week. You know, I didn't have any fudge.
no fudge.
No.
As always, those of you that are watching on YouTube will see we are joined by someone. And many of you in the accessibility space will know this someone. Many of you outside the accessibility space will have probably seen this man on mine or Cameron's social media pop up a few times. It's Mr. Ian Hamilton. Ian, how are we?
Hey, I'm good, getting by, you know.
Yeah? Good. We start off this, as always, what's everyone been playing this week? I'll start with you, Cameron, because you normally flitter between everything.
I played a bit of Inscription this week, trying to get a platinum on that, which is like a roguelike deck builder. Very fun, but quite a few rated. FC as well, I played a bit of the trial.
Yeah, you
And we played a bit of Gears. Well, I say
Yes.
we played a bit of Gears. We got stuck on Gears.
Oh, don't. An hour and 10 minutes. We were on the same segment. We were trying to do it on Insane so Cameron can get the trophy, because you've got to do it on Insane on co-op. And we got stuck on the same segment for about an hour and 10 minutes because you split up. And if I cleared my bit, Cameron died, or if Cameron cleared his bit, I died. We couldn't get it to sync.
And then I did it solo in 10 tries.
So I'm clearly the problem there. Ian, what about yourself? We know you're a busy man with like family commitments and life. Have you managed to squeeze in some gaming this week?
I'm conferencing at the moment as well. But yeah, I have actually managed to get a bit of time in this week, finally. So I'm still pretty behind, but I've finished Doom Eternal. Not Doom Eternal. That was a long time ago.
Arcages. Yes.
Showing your age there, Ian. Showing your age there.
Yeah. Yeah, I was the original Doom was pretty formative experience for me. So, yeah, I loved Dark Ages, especially the accessibility stuff in there. Just being able to whack the speeds down by 10% when there's a extreme spike, as it likes to do from time to time, is awesome. But yeah, loved it.
No, good. That's what we like to hear. I saw you mention Borderlands 4. I've played a bit of that. Did you get a chance to start that yet, or?
No way, Ben. Like I said, I've only just got as far as this. I'm still to play like Atomfall and Shadows and stuff like that. I've got a long list to get through.
You really have. No, that's good. Cam, anything to highlight this week? We normally bring something random to the table in the world of gaming that's not new, like not going to be in the news segment. Anything happened to yourself this week? I've had a really boring week. I've just worked this week and streamed.
Yeah, you talk for yourself for a bit. Go on.
No, I've worked and streamed. We're back to stream. I got new. This is really boring now. I got new glasses, and because your glasses after so many months, like 18 months on me, your eyes adjust to your glasses. So for the last 6 months, I've been struggling with like headaches after work and stuff just because of screen time. But actually, now we're in a good point where I've got new glasses. They're a bit stronger, and I can stream after work, and it's been nice. So I've actually kind of got back to a stream routine, and cricket season's finished. The last cricket event is this Saturday, and we are as a family quite excited because we're all shattered. But I think it's
You don't even play.
No, but it's sad because Thomas is like, oh, the cricket season's finished, but he's going inside. We're looking at getting him some coaching sessions, and yeah. But anything from you, Cameron? No. It's been a really boring week. We've done the football podcast, so yeah. Well, let's hand over to the person that everyone's probably interested to hear about, because they've listened to me and Cameron waffle now for 30 episodes, and specials and football stuff. So, I'd like to ask this question. Who is Ian Hamilton?
Who?
It's a bit deep, isn't it? People look at me like, oh my god, I'm like, no, just tell us about yourself. You don't have to go into like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's really good.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess work is all accessibility. My background before that was in design and UX. Um, Outside of work, it's all consumed by having little children at the moment. But outside of that, in a past life, I was studying for zoology and did some research and stuff for that. So that's still an interest on the sides, wandering through forests, looking for animals, that kind of stuff. Cooking as well. But those kind of things are kind of fading in the background in between, like running conferences and chasing around after tantruming 2-year-olds is tough.
Yeah, I am. Let's start on the conferences. I'm amazed you fit us in, because you are 10 days. Yeah, 10 days away from
Yeah.
being in Seattle and running
Yep.
the largest accessibility conference of the year. So, how did that? I've never actually asked. How did that form? Like, for those of you listening, we're talking about GA-Conf and the Games Accessibility Conference, run by Ian himself and Tara. But yeah, I've never asked. How did it come about?
I guess the original seed for it was back in 2012. Uh, Tara and I, the first time we met in person actually, was when her and Max were living in Boston. And there's the Games for Health conference that's run there, and they had an accessibility day as part of that, which is just like a single track series of talks on one of the days there. So we were like, huh. So that was kind of like the initial seed. But then later on, as the years went on, we started doing like drinks, socials, and stuff at GDC
Yeah.
alongside the main event. So like as there's more and more people starting to get interested in accessibility, we'd like gather together anyone who happened to be there and like all just head off down to a bar or something. But then as went on, there's a few things kind of coming together. One of them was that the kind of talks that would make it onto the lineup at a conference were all the same kind of things. They were basic, real basic 101. This is what accessibility is. This is why it matters. It was getting to the point where people were actually doing some like interesting, more advanced stuff, but there wasn't any of that content being shared in between different developers. So that was part of it. Another one was the actual inaccessibility of GDC itself. So there's the accessibility SIG has a round table at every GDC, and every year it was the same. It was like this is really inaccessible to me. Like the venue is, the few accessibility talks that there are scheduled at the same time as each other, on opposite ends of the site, and there's no accessibility to talks themselves, like captioning or anything like that. So it's kind of these things coming together that we were kind of we'd already been talking about previously about expanding these like drinks meetups to have like a guest speaker or something. But then that idea very quickly snowballed into just
Uh,
spinning off into like a whole conference. So that's how it started. It started off as a fringe event of GDC.
yeah,
So it's similar to Develop, right? Like you have these other
like the
side events that happen in the
A11Y
day or two
gathering.
before.
Yeah.
Exactly, it was exactly like that. But then eventually we got sick of San Francisco and the expense of San Francisco as well. So it moved to Seattle instead. But it didn't take very long for the Europe one to start after we run the first one. Literally, we finished the first one, and then the next day we were just like sat in a diner in San Francisco and decided, okay, we're doing one in Europe as well, which was in Paris, the first one. The idea was originally to just like keep it cycling around Europe, but just ended up keeping it in London. I mean, it's easier. Like Tara
Yeah.
lives in Redmond, so I live in like well anywhere in the UK is close enough to get to London, right?
Yeah.
So it made sense to do it in places that are local to us.
No.
Yeah, the French one was an adventure. It was the logistics of having live captioning and signing in English, French, and American
Oh
was
my
quite a
god.
thing
So
to
you
be
did it
able.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Wow.
You can't do it live. Someone can't just like live do live caption in a different language. So there was a whole setup where like it was the audio is piped into a room at the back. Someone would transcribe it all, then someone else would translate it all. Then the translated was put up on the screen and also put on a little screen down the front where the signer was reading the translated text as well. It was I was quite
God.
skeptical about whether it'd be possible to pull it off, but all credit to him, he managed it.
Bet the pastries were nice though.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not too much of the event itself, but the where we were staying was an area of Paris that had lots of like very nice little boutique delis and stuff. So yeah, we definitely had some good pastries on the side.
Yeah. So, why video games accessibility? Because you're kind of that's like I've made the joke previously, like you're the godfather of like video games accessibility. Everyone comes to you for like the knowledge, but why video games accessibility? Especially when you started, because there wasn't nothing. But let's be honest, it's not what it is. It wasn't. It's not. It wasn't what it is today. So why kind of advocate for something so strongly and passionately like you do that was so niche and so new?
All right, there's a couple of parts to that. Firstly, I'm not Godfather. I'm not going to be leaving horses' heads on your pillows or anything. I've been around for a while. There's other people who've been around for longer. I mean, in terms of getting started, it was kind of a multi-step kind of thing. The first was actually when I was at school. So when I was a teenager, there was an exchange program for local special education school. It was like an exchange program, so everyone went over and did a bit of time as a teaching assistant. So from my experiences there, when I entered work properly, and like aside from the usual like bit jobs and stuff, first proper professional placing was BBC, working on their kids stuff, and I hadn't been there very long when I saw some playtesting footage of games that had been adapted to work with a single switch.
Yeah.
So just the usual CBeebies games you get on the website,
Yeah.
but versions of them that you can control just by a single button. So that can map to like a button on the wheelchair headrest or a tube to blow into, all that kind of stuff. I mean, this was back in like 2006, so long before things like Xbox Adaptive Controller, but it's exactly the same hardware that and the Access controller are developed to be compatible with. So seeing that and then relating that back to what I'd seen at school, doing that placement where there was kids who were basically just like lying at the back of the classroom, like passive participants in that setting, and then seeing through just this like relatively small design tweak that those same kids were now actually like active equal participants in their society, like doing exactly the same things that everyone else was doing, just like laughing and playing and like a preschool kid should be, you know.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing that like, I mean, BBC was like really early adopter of accessibility stuff anyway, because it's like public service broadcaster. It's literally written into their founding principles that like it has to be has to return value to everyone who's paying the license fee.
Yeah.
So by extension, it has to be accessible. So they were already good on the game accessibility stuff all the way back then. But it's one thing turning up and on your first day getting some training materials that explain some accessibility guidelines versus actually seeing with your own eyes what the human impact of it is. And that kind of thing, like once you've seen that, the door's opened. You know, you don't just forget something like that. So that was what kicked it off. So then I just like worked on like internal projects and stuff to do with that, and eventually ended up being like an official part of my job. So I was like part-time on game accessibility. And then the time came when BBC was moving from London off to Salford, which I couldn't do because my wife had just started doing her like postgrad in London. So I started looking around for like where like that was the bit of the job that I enjoyed the most by then was game accessibility. So I looked around seeing which other companies I could go and carry on doing that same role in, and so what would this have been in like 2020, 2011, something like that? And yeah, obviously the answer was none. Like it just
I was
wasn't a
gonna
thing
say,
at all. And that blew my mind. So that's what was the real eye opener for me. Because I mean, I'd assumed just like being at BBC that like BBC was just a bit rubbish and everyone else must be doing a great job of it. But literally no one was at all. Like I went and met up with Mick Donegan and Barry Ellis from Special Effects. That was when they really home and said like what other companies are doing like doing this, and like So yeah, so that was what really opened my mind to what like problem it was across the entire industry, and that's when it shifted from being okay, this is something that's really cool, I like doing this about my job, to actually no, I need to join all those other people who are already fighting to change this. That's when it shifted into advocacy. From there, like went from working at the BBC to doing contracting for UX for like web and apps, and working for banks and all kinds of boring stuff like that. But basically, I'll do a bit of short-term contracting doing that, and take the money that I earned from that, and not yet having kids, I was free to do stuff like take the money earned from that and spend that on like airfares and stuff to travel around, like speaking at conferences and stuff, trying to like raise awareness. And
Yeah.
then over the years, more and more people got on board, it got to the point where I could basically retire from doing all that web and app stuff and just focus solely on accessibility for work as well.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you were saying things like Godfather and Pioneer and stuff. That's not the case at all. There, like I said, I've been around for a while, but there's people still working in accessibility who've been doing it for much longer than me. I mean, like I mentioned, like Mick Donegan, Barry Ellis, you mentioned Tara as well. There's still Steve Swan. There's a lot of people who've been around for a long time, and way before us. Everything is built on what came before. There's people who've been fighting for game accessibility since like the 1950s. You know, so we're all just steps along the journey. You know.
Yeah. What's it like when you look back though and you see how quickly, like not quickly, how much it's changed in? I know everyone says it's kind of progressed quite quickly in comparison to other areas of the industry. Is it kind of cool
Mhm.
having to be able to go, I saw this moment, I saw this I remember that, I was there when this happened, and
Yeah.
especially when it's something so impact, like people don't realise the impact it can actually have, but knowing that you can sit there and kind of timeline it and go, oh, I remember being in this flat when that happened in London, and then going from there to watching like Steve Saylor cry on Twitter because The Last of Us 2 was accessible, and going, right, I was here then. That must be quite like, because even I could do it now from my small number of years in the doing it now, 7 years I think. And yeah, even I go, I remember where I was when that happened, but you can kind of roll it
Yeah,
back
yeah,
and go, yeah,
yeah. A particularly fun one, which is a nice one because it's actually all on record. It's all on video. Anyone can go back and watch it. Was the very first GeoConf that we did. The final talk of the day was about Uncharted 4,
yeah,
which was incredibly groundbreaking for its time. I mean, this is an example of how quickly it's changed, right? That was like the big headline, amazing stuff this game had done because it was a AAA game that had like I think it had an accessibility menu with like 7 things in there. So you could like the big headline thing was that you could have automated camera look.
yeah,
So in the same way that you would get back on the old like PS1 games and stuff like that, you would just use one stick to walk around and the camera would work out how to follow you. Like, but that was all that stuff was amazingly groundbreaking for its time. And that was 2017.
yeah. I was gonna say that was yeah,
So the difference there is now compared to them. So but that's the thing, like it can seem disheartening at the moment if it seems like things seem to be moving slowly or something like that, but like they're like
oh,
overall it's exponential like this. Just that going up that hill is like it's got a few like wobbles and stuff in it. But overall the trajectory is it's nice to see something in life that's moving squarely in the right direction, you know.
yeah. I
Yeah.
like feel like that. Like people say, I get it now. Like what how much has it come on? And I'm like, like you said, exponentially. Even from when I
Mm.
started doing it in 2018, 2019, and that was like I was just kind of breaking the surface then, wasn't even going like as deep as I am now. And even I can see the difference in just the sheer number of games that are doing it in areas that they weren't doing it before. Like I know we're still not seeing necessarily perfect titles, but you never on the hill you're never going to get a perfect title, but the difference is massive. Like you're seeing games with accessibility menus, and now it's quite. If it's a AAA game, you can kind of go. It's going to have an accessibility menu. It might not be great, but at least there is this notice of attention now to it.
Yeah, it'd be better if it didn't have an accessibility menu as well, but that's a different topic. Maybe we can
Yes,
wrap that on later.
I didn't know you were on my side of that argument. I didn't
Well,
realize you were.
it's the side of the data.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were on my side. I'm on that side of the
Oh, that
argument.
story about why I was talking about Uncharted 4. So
Yeah,
that was the final talk of the day, and the talk immediately before that was Brandon Cole,
yeah,
and he talked about how he was the warm up act for Naughty Dog, about how someday he would love to be able to play a game like Uncharted or The Last of Us. Then the developers gave up to give their talk on Uncharted 4 and said they're looking at all kinds of things at the moment that they might be able to do in The Last of Us. And one thing they had even vaguely talked about was the possibility of blind people playing it. They didn't think it would be possible at all, but they would still like to, chat with Brandon to see about his ideas, to see if it might be possible. Fast forward a couple of years, and obviously it's the first AAA to be fully blind accessible with Brandon Cole in the credits for it. So it's nice being able to see that. Like I said, being able to see not just be there for that moment, the fact that it's preserved in video for posterity, like how just that one little connection between two people can lead to something like that.
Like that spark.
I think that's something important in advocacy as well. Is that which kind of ties into the conference in general, which is the power of all that community and relationship building, all that kind of stuff. Because ultimately, if you think about how much good and change you can personally bring about in the space of 5 minutes, it's not a great deal. But how much good and change can you bring about in the space of 5 minutes by introducing two people?
Yeah, I tried to say to people that are new in the space that you might not see your work being done, if that makes sense. Like, you might not realise the impact you're having until you have a discussion with someone and go, yeah, I saw your content and because of your content, or I saw your post and because of your post. I worked in a job that, it took me a little while to adjust. I worked in a job that you literally saw your outcome there and there. Because you were like, you put the plate of food, to put it really simply, you put the plate of food down in front of them and you were like, here's your dinner, and they smiled and were like, oh, that's amazing. But when I kind of got into advocacy, I was like, there's no outcome. And I'm like, oh, and then you realise, I'm like, 7 years later, we've got FIFA with high contrast in, and I'm like, fuck it, and it's took 7 years of that, and 7 years of not just myself, but everyone and other people pushing for it and being in the right place at the right time. And yeah, I struggled massively with that, kind of getting a bit not heartbroken, down a couple of times, because you're like, I'm not, oh shit, don't feel like I'm doing anything, but actually you can be doing a lot without ever realising it as an advocate.
Yeah, and sometimes that can take a long time. You never know where things might lead. Basically, you're going around scattering seeds everywhere and see what happens in the years to come. Yeah, and it can take a long time. Like, I had a nice message from someone at one of the big mobile publishers asking me if I could come and do a talk, and it was their head of software engineering, something like that. And they were starting to do some really nice accessibility things, and I thought their name sounded familiar, and turned out that was someone who back in, I think, 2011, something like that, I went to one of the London venues of Global Game Jam, and there was a tutor there who was doing the local game jam there, and I was there advocating for accessibility and stuff, and that was that same person. 7 years later or something, that person was now head of software engineering at this big mobile publisher and was all into accessibility. So the stuff the longer you work in the field, the more this stuff happens, little things that happened years and years ago that actually that seed has grown into something good now.
Yeah. 2 seconds.
Show off the Stanley.
Show off the Stanley. There was something else I wanted to ask. What's your game that you go, that one I had an impact on? Because I spoke to other consultants, so that's the game that I always go, that's the one that meant the most, kind of thing. Or not meant the most, but it's the one you kind of had your eyes set. Did you ever have your eyes set on one game, like me with FC, and you're like, that's the game I want to change? Because everyone's got, I always say it, and all of us have got that one little bit of selfishness in there somewhere that's like, if I could change that game, I'm going to be well happy. And for me, it was FC. Have you kind of ever had that game and gone, I did that, and that was, yeah?
Not quite in that sense, no. There's games that I've been, happy. Not so much that there's a game that I really wanted to specifically make an impact on, but just more games that I've been happy to work on in general, just because of working on a Star Wars game. If I could go back and tell,
he had to bring it up, didn't he? He had to bring the hat up. He was waiting to get it in.
But you know what I mean? Like, if I could go back and tell 6-year-old me that I was like working on Star Wars, my mind would be blown.
Yeah.
You know? So I mean, that's just part and parcel of being in the industry, right?
Yeah, if I could go back and tell, like, 16-year-old me, it's worth all the shit you go through in hospitality, because in 10 years' time, you'll be doing something that's incredible and you'll love it. And yeah, no, it's very true. That's, yeah. Being able to go back and tell yourself would be awesome, I think. It'll be alright in the end, don't worry.
And you got to make the most of those moments, whether it's something like that, whether it's being able to do something you think is really cool, or just something professionally, being able to have
Yeah.
even the tiniest wins in accessibility. You need to like really treasure those and remember them. I mean, like Tara talks about keeping a specific like log of all of your wins, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of hard times. It's always good to be, and sometimes you can be really deep in those, so it's nice to be able to like take a step back and actually get some context of all the good things that have happened as well.
Oh,
You
100%.
need it for your mental well-being, you know.
Yeah, definitely. It's being an advocate's never the easiest. It comes with its challenges. I got another one. With regards to social media, like, you're quite vocal, and I know there's going to be people listening to this that are getting quite new into the space and are posting on social media and might be getting the backlash that me and you both know. How do you deal with that? Because I've got my mechanisms of just blocking them and telling them they're basically an idiot. But you are so much more professional than that. It's incredible. How do you do that? Like, do you just, because I just wanted some of the comments, I just want to tell people they're a fucking idiot. But you are so professional on all forms across like social media, and you never kind of stoop to that level. How?
I guess developing a thick skin.
Yeah.
Let me just see. I'm just looking up the date of when I got my first death threats. Yeah,
Ooh, that's a fun
2010.
game. Let me look for mine.
Yeah, yeah. I had my first death threats in 2010. So like,
Wow,
Ooh,
that's
vintage.
so you
That's
were
a
there's nothing.
vintage.
Yeah, that was over. It was actually not over games. It was over toys. So I managed to get the name of a transformer changed.
Yes, we discussed this outside of a hotel bar in Brighton not
Yeah.
that long ago. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you would not believe the amount of death threats I got from Transformers fans who are angry that their toy was not allowed to be called Spastic. But like the amount of stuff that I've seen over the years, people say to me like there's nothing people say to me on social media that I haven't heard before. You know?
No, I get that now. Yeah,
But it's a question of picking your battles as well. Like by the time you've had like a couple of messages with someone, you can generally tell how it's going to go. Some people just like are open-minded and accept what you're saying. Some people, it's obviously like they're just there to troll. You're
Yeah,
completely
I've
wasting your time
picked
any
up
kind
on
of interaction with them.
doing that, like judging the tone of a person normally by one or two messages. If they tend to call you an idiot or drop a swear word within the first message, you're like, yeah, I'm done interacting with you. I'll move on. No, when was my first
There
death
is kind of
threat?
a trickier middle ground as well, which is people who are going with all guns blazing. If you try and speak to them rationally, they'll just steamroll you. So that's more of a trickier one, judging the people who basically you need to meet them at that level. They're expecting an argument, so you have to give them an argument, otherwise they'll just steamroll. But if you keep talking to them and gradually lower the tone, start to speak in a more rational way, you can actually eventually get them down to having a reasonable,
conversation.
good, productive
Yeah.
conversation.
No, that's good. It's yeah, my first death threat
Yeah, I mean,
was
above all, like don't it can be tough, the kind of things that people say, but ultimately you can't take it personally, because you know if they had spoke to you in person, they wouldn't be speaking like that. Like the fact that it's anonymous social media makes people do all kinds of horrible things they wouldn't normally do.
yeah.
So.
Who'd send a really unprofessional tweet to a community manager at EA? That wouldn't be me. Never would do
No.
that. Oh
Right.
God.
When was your death threat, Wobbles?
Mine was
Idea.
Elden Ring. I can't remember.
Ooh.
I got death threats and had cancer wished upon my loved ones. That was that was the kind of ones I was receiving.
The extra spicy.
The extra spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine
Had the family ones as well.
Yeah.
because I did a Eurogamer art. Oh, Eurogamer.
Oh, you got the AI side of it, didn't you? Yes.
Yeah, what's the one that just recently come back? Game Informer. So I got asked about Game Informer, and they were asking about AI, and I said, I can see where it has its uses, but obviously it needs to be moderate. Well, it's hard to get it moderated now. It's like a genie at the bottle. Oh, I don't mention anymore.
Yeah, there's certain things I don't mention anymore because of that. But let's go more mellow. We've been quite deep so far, chatting about all things. What's your favourite game, Mr. Hamilton?
It's a tough question. So, in terms of, I think the sheer number of hours that I've played it in my life, it would need to be a game called Chaos, which is by a chap called Julian Gollop, who eventually went on to make games like XCOM.
Yeah.
So it's like a proto XCOM. But it came out like on the Spectrum and Commodore 64 and that kind of era. So it's similar to XCOM, but you are like summoning like monsters and casting spells and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It's just like a single screen, like turn-based
stuff.
strategy. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. It's randomly generated each time, so every game's completely different. Like the amount of time I've spent like living in London, commuting in the ground, busting that out for a bit. Like in terms of number of hours, then that would have to be the winner. In terms of personal impact, it would have to be a indie game called To the Moon. It's like an RPG maker game, just like top down, really basic graphics, horrible gameplay. It takes a few hours to complete, but still my favorite game ever by a big margin. So yeah, anyone who's played that, I would defy them not to start crying if they hear the theme tune. It's quite a thing.
What did you say it's called? To the Moon?
And,
I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to.
no, I played a game with the moon in the title, but I could win that one.
Yeah, it takes about 4 hours to complete. I'd highly recommend it. And it has some interesting stuff with disability representation as well, covering a whole bunch of different things. It even passes the disability Bechdel test as well. Like two disabled people having a conversation with each other that's not about disability.
Can we do that? Is that allowed?
Yeah, it's a little bit like what's it called? Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's about that, like delving into past memories and like tweaking them and stuff like that. Yeah, I can't really say too much without spoiling, but I would definitely recommend
added
it.
to the list.
What game do you think that's maybe had a bad rep would have been improved with just basic accessibility?
I don't know. There's certainly been games that I would have loved to have played but haven't been able to, because of real basic failings, and it's more often than not tech size. Like Stellaris, like I am such the like prime target audience for that game. Masters of Orion, I was weaned on that. I'd love to play Stellaris, but I can't. Like my site is better than 2020, and I can't play Stellaris. It's the UI is.
Stellaris was a game that me and my friends during would have been lockdown played. We did Civ run-throughs because we were like loads of us all worked in hospitality or whatever, or jobs that just got made done. Like you're done, whatever. We were just like, we'll just do a game then. That's all we can do. So we played doing Civilization 5 run-throughs, and my mate started playing Stellaris, and there was about 5 of us that were doing these, 4 of us or 5 of us that were doing these run-throughs, and they started playing Stellaris, and I was like, I can't play it. And that was one of the, because I hadn't been long into, like I just started kind of looking into doing accessibility a bit more, and I distinctly remember that feeling of still going to my mates, oh, you lot play it because I don't want to hold you back, but still sitting with them socially while they were playing it and being on the edge and just being like, I just want to be able to play this game. And it was Stellaris, because that is the worst text size in a video game I've ever seen.
Yeah. Another similar one was Mass Effect Andromeda. Like, loved the original Mass Effect games. I mean, maybe not so much the ending of the third one, but Love the Mass Effect games. Picked up Andromeda. Luckily, I had a demo. Picked it up and put it down again within 10 minutes because of the text
Yeah,
size.
I
It
couldn't
was
get started with it.
unplayable. Yeah.
See, tech size matters, people. Size matters.
Yep.
You keep telling yourself that.
Another question. You can answer. A lot of people will know, but why Battenberg? So let's just put some context on that for people that don't know that are listening. GA-Conf has been renowned for as long as I can remember with Battenberg. It's discussed commonly in GA-Conf circles. There is Battenberg at every event bought by Topher's mum, which is phenomenal.
Yep.
And
shout out to Topher's mum.
And there is normally Battenberg themed pastries, macaroons, cupcakes, whatever. There is normally a Battenberg themed delicacy. And I don't know why, and I can imagine a lot of people don't know why, but it is just so renowned with the event within the accessibility community now. Why Battenberg?
No special reason. Just Amy Kavanagh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was Amy. She just because there's the snacks channel, so like so all that kind of stuff is just to kind of help it be an equitable experience for people attending online.
Yeah.
So it gives that kind of like bit of like fun community like interaction and stuff rather than just people who happen to be watching a video on YouTube at the same time, you know. So that's part of that is having the snacks channel, people just sharing what they're eating, and she just put Battenberg in there one day, and that was literally it. Like it somehow became a meme.
Is that literally it? I don't know if there was like some story about it.
Maybe a cherry bakewell.
Yeah, it could be. It could be anything then, couldn't it? It was literally just a yeah.
I mean, no, we did try. I mean, I've got an email here. As we're sure you can appreciate, we receive a tremendous number of requests for sponsorships. It's not possible for us to respond favourably on every occasion. We're sorry we're unable to offer assistance to you on this occasion, but we would like to take this opportunity to wish you luck with your events and to thank you for your interest in Mr. Kipling.
I knew you were going to say Mr. Kipling straight away.
We did actually try for official sponsorship from Mr. Kipling, but
Kipling's gone downhill.
Yeah.
Get the Aldi version.
Won't be buying any French fancies from now on.
No. Get the Aldi, Mr. Coupling or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be like a kind of a blueberry muffin analogy, because obviously the blueberry muffin analogy is to do with accessibility. Yeah. I thought you were going to be like, it's from something someone said in a talk to do with Battenberg, not just a picture from Dr. Amy Kavanagh.
Picture Amy, and then I think someone said, "Oh, that's a great idea. I'm going off down the shop to get some Battenberg," and then they pasted the picture as well, and then that was it.
I bet the Americans were screwing because you can't get Battenberg in America, can you?
Now you can. Ara commissioned a local bakery in Redmond to bake some Battenberg. And they did, and they loved it. It's now permanently on their menu. Yeah,
that's so you've got to go all the way to Redmond in America to get Battenberg.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's other places that will sell it, but yeah. So the conference is officially responsible for bringing Battenberg to the Pacific Northwest.
That's mad. It's
not just the cake. We've had other stuff as well. Like we've had like the bar mixing up Battenberg cocktails.
Yeah.
And we've had Battenberg macaroons, Battenberg cupcakes. There's one actually we didn't manage to get it, unfortunately. Like our supplier let us down at the last minute. But there was supposed to be Battenberg donuts at the European one that's just gone past.
We were there as well, Hubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was going to be. So it's going to be like with almond flour in the dough, and apricot jam in the middle, and then like the pink and yellow icing on the top. But yeah, it wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. Maybe some other time.
No. Oh, totally odd tangent. Did you see the savoury Battenberg? Topher sent me a picture of it. I don't know if he posted it in the GA-Conf thing.
I made it at home.
Was that you that made that?
Oh, I don't know about the one that was posted there, but I think Carrie and I both made it.
Oh, Topher sent me a picture ages ago of it, and it was savoury Battenberg, and I don't know where he found it.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think one of us saw it in the butcher's somewhere. Just a picture of it online.
And
I think it was just like in a Google image search for Battenberg, and yeah, this sausage Battenberg came up.
yeah, bit. Maybe not for me that.
Well, to be fair, the normal battenburg isn't for you.
I don't like marzipan. And
I saw another one actually. I saw one in the same one has no Mars on it. Don't worry. But yeah, I saw another one in a farm shop a couple of weeks ago down here in Devon. It was the same thing. So it was just like the 4 squares. It's like 2 squares of sausage meat, 2 squares of pork, and then just like pastry around the outside.
I'd actually probably nail that. You know, I love a
Yeah.
sausage roll. Yeah. We are about that time where we take the reins from Ian himself, but one last question to finish on something that I think could be quite helpful. Have you got any advice to people that maybe just starting in the accessibility community, whether that's consulting, advocating,
Even devs.
Devs, yeah. What's your biggest piece of advice to them people?
Well, it's kind of different for the different groups that you mentioned. But if you're a developer, then just do something. Like it may sound trite, but it's actually really common for people to not act out of fear of getting it wrong or not doing enough and like being judged harshly for it. But none of that applies. Literally every tiny little thing that you do is just going to make the game more enjoyable for more people. It doesn't matter how small. Just get started, and you will learn stuff from doing that. You will start building like relationships with community and stuff, and it will just take it forward. Again and again. I mean, like I mentioned, the journey from like nothing in Uncharted 2 to something in Uncharted 4 to what they did in Last of Us 2 and whatever will come next. Like it's a journey. Companies don't just start off and nail it straight away. You have to start from somewhere. So just start. That's the main thing. But for people starting out in more like the advocacy space, and it applies for developers as well, is just it relates to what you're saying as well about having been around for a while and seeing how things have progressed. In the early days, it was a very lonely thing to be doing, which is tough. There were not very many people working accessibility at all back then. Now there's a big, buzzing, vibrant, positive, healthy community. So just don't go alone. You don't have to. Just find your people. There's lots and lots of other people who are going through the same things as you, fighting the same fights. People you can learn from. People can learn from you. So I think that's the biggest advice I give is about community.
I could not agree more, and I do think that is a very good point to end this segment. Hello everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode. We are here with the second segment of the ep, which is Patch Notes. We are still joined by my hostess with the mostess, Cameron Keywood, and obviously our guest of the week, which is Ian Hamilton. As always, we will be discussing the weird, the wonderful, the highs and the lows of the gaming world this week. I'm going to start with something that I can't claim as my own because Cameron did send me it, but I wanted to make sure it got some airtime in the pod. A few months ago...
It's a follow-up. Yeah,
it's a follow-up. A few months ago, you'll remember Cameron brought to the table that a Treyarch co-founder was arrested for flying his drone into a firefighting aircraft during the forest fires in January. And he was arrested, bailed, and it was quite a substantial fine he was facing. So, his name, I will out, and you can find it anywhere. So it's Peter Tripp Aikman, for those of you that may know the name. Yeah, he flew a drone into a large firefighting aircraft that was helping to stop the fires in the Palisades area around Los Angeles. The damage took the aircraft out of commission for a period of time. This is considered a felony. Aikman will also, as part of the previous Call of Duty, will also have to pay around £156,000 in fines to start with. He's got to serve 14 days in federal prison, 30 days of home arrest, and then 150 hours of community service for this drone-related incident. That is mental. So...
expensive drone.
That's an expensive drone. But yeah, so just to follow up on that, he got prison time, home arrest time, over 100 grand worth of fines, and 150 hours of community service. For those that have been keeping an eye on the case, because I'm sure it's been thrilling. But we are going to pass over to Cameron, because Cameron's got some news himself, and then we will be discussing some accessibility news.
My game news is also a bit weird. Microsoft Flight Simulator meets the world of pigeon dating in this new game. So several games. This is from GameSpot by Darren Bonathes. Several games offer the chance to explore real world locations, but the upcoming Pigeon, a love story, will make you realise just how big a city can really be. Revealed in the 6-1 indie showcase, it does exactly what it says in the box. You're a pigeon, and you're looking for your life partner inside of a densely populated metropolitan area like Paris, New York, London. And they're all rendered completely to scale, and apparently, according to the developer, they're also populated with an accurate number of pigeons.
What?
So hundreds of thousands of autonomous pigeon NPCs fly around, and it's your task to find a feathery soulmate. It's a chill soundtrack, and it's digital bird watching basically, which
Bird watching in
yeah,
many terms, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically it.
I want you right.
No release date.
We got when that gets a release date. I'm not playing it, but we need to find out the Steam numbers for that bad boy to find out how many people, because that's the kind of game that will go viral for its ridiculousness.
Yeah, just.
But what makes you as a game developer sit there and go, do you know what I'm gonna do?
I haven't seen this before.
That can you post a link to that in the dub?
Yeah, that'll be in the dump.
Yeah, because there's some games out there, like we know there is some games out there, but that's up there with weird, wonderful, and that's got to be time consuming, right? To get like scaled's mad. That's mental. That's tickled me.
It's blown your mind.
That has tickled me. Well, on that note, it couldn't be an episode with Ian Hamilton if he didn't bring some accessibility news to the table. We didn't pressure him, but funnily enough, he went straight away, I've got some news, it's accessibility related. So Ian, what are we discussing this week in terms of accessibility?
This week, all kinds of stuff. I mean, just this week, there's been Makers Making Change have released their accessibility kit. So they make assistive technology devices, and they give them away for free, and they hook up people with makers to do 3D printing, all that kind of stuff. And basically what they've done is released a big kit of loads of switches and joysticks and stuff. The idea being that this would be for community centres, for developers who want to make an accessible booth at an expo, people like that who want to buy have a bulk load of kit, and rather than free, they sell those. They're still really, really cheap compared to comparable things. Like, I mean, if you buy a full assessment set of switches from somewhere like Inclusive Technology costs between $1 and $2 grand, and Makers Making Changes one is really, really cheap. But basically, they're using that as a fundraising mechanism. So by companies and organisations buying this big box of switches and sticks, that then gives Makers Making Change money that they can spend on building other ones for free to give out to gamers. So that was fun. There's also Godot, the Godot engine, has released their screen reader support for developers. And this is just an early part of the roadmap. They got lots of other fun stuff to come. I mean, they've been talking about. Already part of the editor itself is screen reader accessible, so they want to do more work on that. So actually, then having the tools not only for developers to make screen reader accessible games, but actual blind people being able to use the engine fully themselves would be awesome as well. And yeah, I mean, in quick succession, like that, coming hot on the heels of Unity.
Unities, yeah.
For Apple and Windows, it's for honestly the ridiculous amount of years that people have been putting a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into trying to get progress at engines. 2 engines doing that kind of stuff in the space of a couple of weeks is pretty incredible. ESA, who do the Accessible Games Initiative, they've hired a full-time, very experienced accessibility professional just to work on the Accessible Games Initiative. There should be some
Wow, I didn't
interesting
see
stuff
that.
coming
That's
from them.
cool.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah,
I wanted.
she's
Ooh, you go.
going to be speaking at GeoConf. She literally was just hired this week. But there's a whole gang of them. There's I think 6 people. Two, one from ESA, then the others from Riot, Xbox, etc. Who are all doing a group talk on the Games Initiative. So yeah, that's going to be her first public appearance as the head of it. The American Council for the Blind have formed a working group for gaming audio description. So bringing together loads of people to work on best practices and share and distribute them as well. So that's the only other time I've heard of some of a big mainstream disability advocacy org actually having a dedicated accessibility stream is RNIB
yeah.
in the UK. Obviously, SK working for that. So yeah, seeing the American Council for the Blind putting that amount of weight behind it is pretty cool.
That's cool.
Obviously, there's GeoConf just around the corner.
Yep.
Apparently, there's some game released about kicking balls or something like that.
Was there? I
Yeah.
don't know. I've not got an addiction to it at all. I was going to mention
Yeah,
that.
the biggie for me there is awards. So the Game Audio Network Guild they have annual awards. They've just added a new category for accessibility through game audio.
Yeah.
So if anyone has got any ideas of games that would be contenders for that, let the developers know so they can enter for it. It's a good chance to get some recognition for that very specific area of accessibility, and that's something nice that we're seeing more and more as more specific things like that. So regional ones as well. So even having 2 specific UK only game accessibility awards. There's the same in Australia and New Zealand. It's nice to see these more specific niche things popping up.
Yeah.
There's also the judging emails have gone out for the Game Awards now. As soon as GeoConf's out of the way, the next thing is going to be the GeoConf Awards themselves kicking off, and there's plenty of other awards as well, and a fair few public votes as well. So I mean, now's the time to be thinking about your highlights of the year, any things that you're a particular fan of that you want to see some recognition. But it's nice this time of year because throughout the year it's always just a big series of highs and lows and stuff. It's nice always to cap it off with just that time of just celebration,
It's always a nice little bit because normally there's always some kind of game with an accessibility setting or thing coming out in the Christmas period as well that kind of highlights something good as well, because it's normally the release period, so something normally drops that's got something new, innovative, which is always a positive, followed by the awards and things like that. And I also wanted to highlight the fact that we have had the announcement this week that EA have appointed Morgan as accessibility director, not just accessibility project lead. I think her previous title may have been, but yeah, so we are now seeing directors of accessibility, and yeah, I think that's a really positive note. And obviously I could not mention the fact that FC's been released today, and it's got high contrast mode, the ability to remove shadows, and lots of other nice little accessibility tidbits.
Okay, so accessibility, high contrast in competitive player versus player. That's the biggie.
That's the first we've seen, I want to say.
Well, you told me it was.
Yeah.
We had to use ESD, didn't we? Because we were playing.
Oh yeah.
I was playing the trial, and yes, they didn't pick the correct kit, so we were both in white. So I had to quickly change our team to yellow.
It's quite funny because one of my mates was like, "Why are you playing with a grey pitch?" And then he realised and was like, "Oh, okay, that actually makes sense." And then they would be like, one of them, they were laughing and joking and cracked a couple of jokes. And about a minute later, we had a kit clash, and they all put the high contrast mode on so they could see the kits. And I was like, how the turns have tabled, gentlemen.
No change the pitch colour, just going to say.
Yeah. But we are...
So I don't want to say first, because no doubt there's going to be some... Anytime anyone says first, there's always someone in somewhere who's done it. But in terms of big name AAA games, I'm pretty sure it's something we haven't seen before. Yeah.
I was racking my brains about it and couldn't think of one that specifically from AAA. But that brings...
I mean, closer. I think the latest Call of Duty expanded their single player one out a bit for multiplayer, but only for
zombies.
Co-op.
Yeah. which was still a good win because if you've played that, it is quite. I set all of my enemies to pink because I can see them, and when you've got 100 pink blobs running at you, it does provide a bit of entertainment. I'm not gonna lie. So on that note, we will move over to the last segment of today's episode, and I forgot the name of it. So Cameron, what's the name of the next segment?
Hard reset.
Thank you. You sound so disappointed. We'll be back in a moment.
Hello, everybody. We are back for our final segment of the podcast, and it is hard reset. Wobbles, hard reset.
What? You're acting like I forget these things. How long did it take me to remember the name of the football segment? I think it was until the last episode of that season, wasn't it?
Yeah. So this is basically our version of Room 101, where we ask our guests to put something in our vault, and then at the end of the season, we're going to have like a tier bracket sort of tournament thing, go through them and decide which one is the ultimate one that should stay in. Simple enough, really. So, Wobbles last week, he put in 5 game of score that doesn't end in 0 or 5. And I put in extra small subtitles. So, now is the time, our guest. Ian, what are you putting in our vault?
Yeah, it's similar to yours. It's going to have to be small text.
This is why I didn't have to worry about saying it, because I knew someone with intelligence was going to bring it to the table while I went with something so mediocre, but it was a personal pet peeve. Yeah,
but it's got to be, it's by far the most common accessibility complaint about games. And it's one of those things where it's like one step forward, 2 steps back, because even though we're seeing increasing numbers of people taking it into account, there's so many, like the overall trend is down and down and down in terms of text size. Like people's screens are getting bigger, resolutions are getting bigger. Like in the old days of like a SNES or a Mega Drive or something, you literally couldn't make small text. It was impossible. You didn't have the pixels. Yeah, it's like the Spider-Man thing, like power and responsibility, and Jurassic Park, like just because you can doesn't mean that you should, right? But it's painful to see because it's so avoidable. But more often than not, the reason it happens is because people design interfaces on a massive monitor right in front of their eyes.
Yep.
So the text size actually looks fine, because you're not looking at it in the context of a living room. You're not looking at someone who's 10 feet away from a 40-inch screen. And I've been in a lot of game studios over the years, and one thing that I've seen consistently in all of them is that realistic environments don't exist. Like the first time that a game is played in a realistic setting is often when someone buys it or downloads it when it releases. Up to that point, like either there is nothing like a living room setup at all, or there is, but what it consists of is the biggest TV that company money can buy, crammed into whatever tiny room people are able to get space in. So it's like you're playing, your living room setup is like a 70-inch TV that's 6 feet from a couch or something. Like that's not representative. And even when people are doing reviews and stuff, it's just like everyone crowds around a TV like in a living room, or like a massive like freestanding one on the studio floor. But yeah, so that's a biggie, is just people don't realise because they don't actually see text in a realistic setting when they're making a game. And even when it is brought up, there's constant pushback from like design directors and stuff who don't realise, bless them, that the aesthetics of what you're making are completely worthless if somebody can't actually read it. Like the text may as well not be there, you know. But even when people do manage to, in theory, make decent text size, they're also hampered by the fact that design tools lie to you consistently. Like if somebody thinks that are putting 28 pixel text into their game, types 28 pixels into Photoshop or any tool, and what they actually do is those tools work on the size of the box that the text fits inside, and the text is always smaller. So even when people think they're doing text of a certain size, it almost always ends up a lot smaller as a result. But yeah, it's painful because it's so so easy to solve if you think about it from the start. It's not if you leave it till late. Like the way that game interfaces are designed and built, you're basically shoving stuff into fixed size boxes. You try and increase the text size late in development, and everything breaks. Like they did that on the Outer Worlds. On the Outer Worlds, the game launched with tiny text, had tons of complaints. They went back in to fix it. It took the UI developer literally seconds to just like type in a new text size. It then took him 3 months to redesign all the boxes, stuff that all broke.
Yeah, I am.
But there's a bigger problem as well, which is just the way that UI in games is approached and built. It's basically stuck in the way that websites were built like 20 years ago. Everything is just all like fixed boxes. Whereas like you take any not any, but most websites, hold down control, hammer the plus button. As the text size increases, everything just all magically like reflows and like changes layout and stuff to fit. That's just all taken for granted in web, and has, as far as I'm aware, has never happened in games. Like the whole approach to game UI needs a ground up rethink. Once that happens, then things will get much easier. And I have no doubt that it will happen someday. But it's a nice example, I think, of what we were talking about the exponential change, but the fact that like the exponential graph is like this, but we still really are down here. Like, even though there's been a lot of progress, there's so much more that needs to be done, and that's a biggie for me. Is fixing how UI is built in games. I mean, not just for accessibility, but things like streaming a console games or mobile.
Yeah, especially with
Like,
like
we can't continue with the way that we currently are if that's the goal. You know.
No, I don't want to jump the gun, but I'd just like to say congratulations on winning this competition. No, I'm joking.
I think there might be a little bit of personal bias towards.
Yeah, there's going to be a little. We have discussed it and said we're probably going to bring in some outside influence, because I just straight away I'm going to be going, yeah, but Ian's got to win it because it's text size, right?
And me and you can still change Robs
Yeah,
throughout the season. You can still change. So
yes,
I might change for next week, I think.
but
Once text size is pretty much covered.
we are about that time.
Yep.
Because Ian and Cameron have real world responsibilities, and I'm going to go and kick a virtual football around. So, it has been an absolute pleasure to get you on, Ian. We've wanted to get you on since episode 1, but, you know, life has been lifing. Again, thank you for your time and just being Ian. It's been great to chat to you. I'm going to hand over to Cam to do the outro and anything else he'd like to add to that.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, basically, I got a bit of advice as well. What was that, Bob?
I guess I forgot we're doing the advice thing. All right, go.
Yeah, a bit of advice: if you're getting over the age of 60, don't trust a fart.
On that note, this has been To Put It Bluntly, and I don't know how to end that because.
Here we go.
Goodbye, and thank you again, Ian.